Happy New Year, you guys. Another good win at home. We're learning this conference, but it's pretty clear that there's a lot of NCAA tournament quality teams. We have to approach each game that way since it's all new to us. And I thought we responded really well at halftime, and we're a lot better defensively, particularly in the second half. And, it made a really good team struggle a little bit on that end, which led to some easy baskets. So we'll continue to grow from here. But it was a good first, I want to say weekend in a week, opening Big Ten week at home against some really good teams.
Joe, what can you say about?
Sorry, we have a microphone we gotta use this time around. Sorry.
What can you say about you forced them into 18 turnovers, is specifically what your defense was doing, especially in the second half?
Yeah, we know we can put a lot of pressure at the point of attack. I mean, Kennedy, I've said it many times before, is the best incoming freshman defender that we've had. I mean, obviously that's not all she does, but from a physical and mental standpoint, she really understands and can mess people up quite a bit. And I think our team feeds off that. And I think our identity defensively is really taking shape, where we know when we can pressure, when we can make things difficult for people. And, I talked in the locker room about I thought Clarice really changed the complexion of the game with her defensive energy, and she finished buckets. And, between Rhea and C together, when you have a top opposing post player, we feel like we can make their life, more difficult than most teams can. And I thought we really bought into the defensive game plan, especially in that second half.
Clarice, can you talk a little bit about making that impact off the bench, waiting for your opportunity to get in the game and then making a big defensive stand, especially in that first quarter portion of the game?
I think on the bench, I just watch Rhea and Kiki and try to talk to them. So when I get in the game, I understand what's going on. And I just go out there, play my game, and just have fun.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Rhea's playmaking. You mentioned last game, she had the 5 assists. You feel like that's kind of becoming the norm for her. She had another 3 assists today. Just kind of, how have you seen that part of her game just kind of develop this season?
She's just playing with so much confidence. I think she really understands. She's been a consistent leader for us. She really understands game plans. She understands offensively and defensively sort of where the action's going to be. And she's playing off that and playing that way. She does so many things for us, and I think sometimes it's a little bit unheralded because it doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but we know that she kind of anchors us in a lot of ways, and it's been really impressive to see that growth.
So one of the areas that I noticed that they were excelling in was kind of the pick and roll, where they were able to kind of pull the big and switch pretty much in the first half, first 3 quarters. How did you kind of make that switch and defensively you guys can stop it and limit them and go on a run?
Yeah, I mean, there were 2 things at halftime. One was a couple of technical adjustments, like we changed our coverages a bit. We started switching with our 4 players, and we kept our 5s in one consistent coverage, and we made some adjustments when they flipped it. So that was the first thing. We made some technical adjustments, but then we just really challenged our players to play with more toughness and aggressiveness as a good team. And if you're passive at all, they're going to make you pay. So we made a point to try to not let them get anything easy. I thought we communicated better in the second half too.
Kennedy, when you listen to your coach talk about you the way she is right now, and how much does confidence does that kind of help you build for your in your freshman year here and moving forward?
Installed a lot of confidence. I feel like Lindsay has a lot of confidence in me coming as a freshman. I feel like my role, whether it's offense or defense, is to get a stop or just help the team in any way possible. And just having my coach by my side is really something that helps me throughout the whole game and process of my freshman year so far.
D'Angelo?
Hey Lindsay, talking about learning a new conference, you have a matchup coming up with Rutgers, and then you have a top 10 matchup with Maryland after that. Can you talk about how you guys have to lock in and what you guys are looking forward to building up for that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, conference championships are often won on, road games at any point. Like, it's difficult to win on the road. We know that we have to bring just sort of our best effort, a connectedness, a togetherness. I heard Rutgers is either sold out or nearly sold out. Like, we know we're going to have big crowds on the road, and I think it's going to be a real challenge for us to lock in on game plans, but also just lock in on what makes us great and trying to sustain that for 40 minutes. We're never going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect, but you need to, pack with you on a road trip kind of tenacity and togetherness that no one can take away. But we know this is a big road trip. It's far, but also it's 2 really talented teams, and we'll get the team as ready as possible, and I think we'll be up for the challenges.
for the players, after the Michigan game, Rhea and Juju were talking about that mentality on defense, especially in practice. Can you guys touch on that a little bit of what you guys are working on in practice defensively and how it's kind of implemented into these games with recent defensive success?
I think one thing we talk about a lot is communication. So whether it's calling out screens or just communicating on both offense and defense, but I think the communication part is what we really try to focus on in practice, and so it can translate to the game.
Come before you jump. Figure the system out at some point. Thanks, Steve.
I know it probably seems like long time ago, but this is for whoever, maybe Kennedy, just the loss to Notre Dame and the 9-game win streak since then, kind of maybe how that had helped you guys focus in on some certain things and what that did for you.
That gave I was on the bench, so just being for a viewer standpoint, I think we had a lot of adjusting to do. I think we took that loss personal, and just building off that loss, I think we've been able to gain momentum both offensively and defensively, and it's bringing kind of a connectiveness for the team, just to keep the main thing, and
I mean, I think we've gotten a lot better since then. I said at the time, that was our 4th or 5th game, right? I think our 5th game. You schedule a big time game like that early as an opportunity and a challenge, and our first choice obviously would have been to play great and win. But once we didn't, our only option then was to use it to make us better, and I really think we've done that. We could have maybe beaten a lesser team and never have known what some of our weak spots were or where we need to get better. And I do think, we don't talk about it all the time, but I think it's informed kind of how we practice and how we prepare and the level that we know we need to be at. So I think the players have done a good job of turning that into, as positive a thing as possible. We also know Kennedy was out for that game. I think other people gained confidence and got minutes and got better when she was out, and now having her back, we're a stronger team than then, but really because I think we handled the loss in a positive way internally.
Last question, Ben.
Coach, I'm sure in preparation for this game, you watched Nebraska kind of give UCLA fits early on in that game. What was your message to the team when you guys were struggling early on to refocus and build a 20-point win eventually?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of veterans, but we also have a lot of young, new players, and so I think just continuing to try to get them to understand that no matter what the jersey says, what someone's ranked, what we're ranked, the conference games are tough, and these teams coming in here are really good. So, if you let teams get comfortable and you let them do, a good version of what they are going to do, you're going to be in trouble. And so I think the halftime talk was, again, like I said, about some adjustments, but also just about our mentality. We have to assert our will a little bit more because, all these teams are coming in here to get a win, to try to get a win, not to roll over. And Nebraska, like I said, is a tournament team, so we had to kind of shift our mentality a little bit and also shift some technical things. But I'm not surprised that they came in here ready to play. I've watched them on film. I know how good they are, and I thought we were able in the second half to make them look way more uncomfortable and get out of what they do extremely well.